Hello, my friends. I am here right now, literally right this second, sitting in this chair. I'm here to talk about the March 27th, 2025 Nintendo Direct. It was a very surprising Direct. Still hard to believe it was a full Nintendo Direct 6 days before another full Nintendo Direct, all about the Switch too. I mean, it was a delight, really. Like, of course, it's a smaller Direct. Of course, it's not like your usual collection of all the bombshells and whatnot. But, like, I think this was a really, really pleasant surprise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the highlights and then for further discussion on the individual games and services announced, head on over to Topic Arlo. I know I go back and forth on what I want to have on the main channel and what I want to have on Topic Arlo, but I feel like with a Direct, I want to like kind of archive my reactions and, discussion about each Direct. That seems like a main channel thing. That's something that someone might want to go back to later. Whereas then just like the, discussions about stuff, just about the trailers themselves and whatnot, that'll be on Topic Arlo. That's how I'm feeling right now. Probably won't feel that way next time. Probably have to go back and forth a couple more times, but this is how it is now. The Direct started off with a trailer for Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. I don't know if I'm beating a dead horse at this point, complaining about Square Enix's naming style. I really just cannot get, it's so awkward. Whatever though, doesn't matter. I haven't played any of these games, but looks great. Looks terrific. I think the art style looks really, really nice. I guess that's all I have to say about that. It just looks really good. So then after that, the Direct does get into some probably more obscure games. It does kind of feel like it lulls a bit in the beginning. A pretty good chunk of games I've never heard of. Not to say that they don't have fans somewhere, but yeah, I don't know. There's a pretty good chunk there where I really just did not know any of this stuff, and it did not particularly appeal to me. But then, Patapon 1 and 1+2 Replay, that was a surprise. This Direct is pretty interesting. I don't know if it was planned this way or coincidental or what, but yeah, Patapon 1 and 2, those were originally PSP games, and so seeing something that was originally associated with Sony here in a Nintendo Direct, and then later to get a reveal for Everybody's Golf, which I believe is also a Sony thing. I don't know if these two IPs, I haven't looked up like where they are, if they are owned by Sony and they're just like lending them out to Nintendo, or if it's like it used to be a Sony thing and now it's not. Sony's really good at letting IPs go. But two games in one Direct, two previously Sony things announced for Switch is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's just pretty interesting. And I believe the developers of Everybody's Golf have a history with like even working on Mario sports games or something. So I don't know. That's very interesting. And then I really expected Metroid Prime 4 to close out the Direct, because we figured this is going to be like the Switch's swan song in a way. Not to say that no other games are going to come out later, but like, the last big AAA game. And they put it in like the middle of the Direct. So that was weird. We were all just like absolutely baffled. We were wondering like, if you're going to put this in the middle, like what could you possibly end the Direct with? But and obviously, over on Topic Arlo, I'll do a full discussion video for the trailer. But I will say it was still like surprisingly small, like it was surprising how little of the Direct it took up. I really thought it was going to be like the last third of it or something, but no, it was just kind of dropped in the middle, and it was still not a very big trailer. So I don't know. I'm still seeing big things for this game in the future, but again, talk about all that later. But it sure was nice. It sure was nice to get a new trailer for Metroid Prime 4 in this Direct. That's enough to make it a winner in my eyes. Then Witchbrook. Looking at the gameplay, I'm not sure if it's my kind of game. I just want to point out, I think it looks lovely. Just the art style, the pixel art, and the way you're like flying around, the isometric angle. I just think it visually looks really, really incredible. Then it was really interesting. I don't know where the world is at with Tamagotchi. I always called it Tamagotchi as a kid. I think we all did. I played the original, like with the little things that you put on your keychain. That was like the original. And I have no idea even like what happened to it as an IP. I don't know like how many games it's been getting. I'll see it like here and there, but I really don't know. But it was, I don't know, at least kind of funny to see that it's getting a new game. Funny to see some of these little duck-facey little characters I remember from back in the day. Then we got another trailer for Pokemon Legends ZA, showing off a pretty major new feature, which is very exciting. It was not otherwise like a particularly exciting trailer. You know, it wasn't like very hype heavy. You know, it was still like a little bit on the smaller side, almost a little bit like Metroid Prime 4. It was still just kind of a taste. Yeah, like apart from like showing off the whole like nighttime trainer thing, it didn't really go into a lot more. It was just kind of like another little extra thing for us to chew on, but that's fine. Then, a genuine surprise, a new Rhythm Heaven game, and looks great. Yeah, I don't know, like what else can you say? It's a Rhythm Heaven game. I will have more to say about that later, but that alone is enough to make, you know, that's another one of those announcements that like, sure, a lot of people will just be like, whatever, in the same way that like we all have our whatevers, you know. We all have those. Plenty of my whatevers, you know. Someone else would be like, what are you talking about? This is huge. So yeah, you know, anyone coming away from the direct feeling kind of disappointed, just know that for plenty of people, the announcement of a new Rhythm Heaven game, that's big. That's one of those big old bombshells. And you know, I really love the way that they did it. It could have just been like a quick little headline, but they actually gave it a little spot. You know, a little character comes up and talks, and then it just kind of goes straight into what may even be like the tutorial in like the first game that you play. It's kind of like leading the player / viewer into the idea a little bit slowly and naturally, which is cool. I don't know. It exposes all of the people who saw this Nintendo Direct. It's more than just a trailer. It kind of it's enticing in its own way. I found myself like I found my thumb kind of twitching while watching this. Suddenly now I'm interested. I want to be the little guy jumping through the hoop. I don't know. I just think it was simple, but it was a very smart way to advertise this game. There were a lot of other little announcements, had your usual like sizzle reel kind of thing. I don't have much to say about the new Fantasy Life other than what's wrong with it? Like, what is wrong with Fantasy Life? The only little bits that I could pick out like from the trailer, it's running at like 10 frames a second. I don't know. It looks like I would not want the public to see it. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if that's the whole game or just a couple clips, but like you're supposed to put the best stuff in the trailer. You're supposed to best represent the game. So if the trailer has footage where it is that choppy, that is weird, and I think cause for really great concern. But anyway, the final big game announcement, Tomodachi Life, they did it. In retrospect, it feels perfect for now, the end of the Switch's life. A couple little more, just like quirky, small-ish, but still like plenty popular games like Rhythm Heaven and Tomodachi Life, while the big teams are working on the big AAA stuff for the Switch too. This is perfect. These kinds of games are just perfect for filling out the schedule. And after all these years, it happened. People were begging for Tomodachi Life for a long time. And you know what? They did that remaster of Miitopia. Sorry, I get all the Me games mixed up. And there's different names for the different regions. But yeah, so like they did that. So I thought maybe they would just do a remaster of the original. But I don't know. I guess it kind of makes sense to do an original for the Switch and its own unique hardware. I'll talk about all that later I'll probably do a whole video on that. But it was really great because we were wondering how they're going to close out the Direct if they already used up Metroid Prime 4 in the middle. It kind of seemed like they would have to have some sort of actual announcement for the end. And they did. They did. They had a pretty darn good announcement, That was a crowd pleaser. I never played the original. I want to say, was there a demo on 3DS? I can't remember if I played a demo or if I just like saw a bunch of stuff on it. It did look really fun though. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think the fact that we got any brand new game reveals at all was great. And then there was even more. 2 very surprising little announcements, new options for sharing games on Switch, and then also the announcement of the Nintendo Today app. Very, very interesting. Very, very surprising. And it was funny, yeah, Miyamoto comes on for a one more thing. And that's enough to freak you out. You know? If he does that, is it gonna be Pikmin 4, or is it gonna be the Mario movie 2 trailer or something? You never really know what it's gonna be. Yeah, and in this case, it was the app, and it's yet another thing I'll talk about in more detail later. But I really do think that a lot of the reason that this Direct existed was this. Like the Nintendo Today, especially after seeing that Metroid Prime 4 didn't really take up as much of the Direct as I thought. I thought that it was kind of like the Direct was like the vehicle for Metroid Prime 4, but ultimately it's not. You could probably say that it was more of a vehicle for Nintendo Today. I mean, obviously, the announcements of Rhythm Heaven and Tomodachi Life, those were big. So those were 2 brand new games for the Switch that they wanted to announce. But then I think they just really want, because we can download the app later today, but then it's going to start actually giving us news on April 2nd when the Switch 2 Direct happens. So I think it makes sense. They wanted to do some sort of presentation. They didn't just want to like drop it on social media. They wanted to make sure that everybody was tuned in and everybody was exposed to the idea of the Nintendo Today app, so we could all get it loaded up on our phones, so that when April 2nd comes around, then it's all there. It is installed in the whole Nintendo playing population. Ultimately, I would say it was a fine Direct. You know, obviously you look at it all by itself and it's not the most exciting Direct in the whole world. You know, we've had Directs that announce big Zelda games and whatnot. You know, it was smaller, just a few smaller Switch 1 titles, update on Metroid Prime 4, and then, you know, the Nintendo Today, and the game sharing thing. Yeah, like it was small, sure, but like I mean, no matter what, there's always going to be people who are disappointed with a Direct. I'm particularly surprised by how much I've seen with this one. You know, like I try not to point it out normally because like it's just the way of things, but like here, we didn't even know this, like we're getting a Switch 2 Direct with a bunch of like next gen Nintendo announcements in less than a week. We didn't even know this was happening. This was literally just a bonus. This is just the cherry on top. This was the appetizer. So I don't know, to be like disappointed that the appetizer didn't fill you up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It really does feel that way. It's just like the appetizer. I'm finished and I'm not full. I'm not satisfied. Yeah, but like this, it was the appetizer. We're like the whole thing is coming next week. Anyway, yeah. All things considered, I thought it was a better presentation than we could have hoped for. I mean, yeah. Again, just the fact that it had new game reveals at all, and 2 of those were for like cult classic games, you know, these relatively niche yet absolutely beloved games where people have just like been waiting for a new entry for years. We got 2 of those. That's awesome. Sure, they're not coming till next year. It's a whole discussion for a little bit later. But I don't know. That's still really great. We got new features. We got new games. It was good. It was fine for what it is. It was a perfectly entertaining Direct. So that's that. Now I'm gonna go and record a bunch of videos for Top Carlo. So yeah, maybe I'll see you over there, or maybe I will catch you for the main course. And here on the main channel, I will be uploading, if I haven't already, my live reaction and commentary. But if you want to see the entire stream, I streamed the whole thing. You can go check that out when it is up on Arlo Plays. Thank you.